Are IDP players as valuable as offensive stars in fantasy football? Imagine building a team where every point counts, but some players seem to score more often than others. That's what makes fantasy football so exciting and strategic. Now, when it comes to individual defensive players, or IDPs, many wonder if they can match the value of offensive stars like quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. In most cases, offensive players tend to score higher and more consistently because they're involved in more scoring plays. Quarterbacks throw passes for touchdowns, running backs rush 4 yards and scores, and wide receivers catch passes that rack up yards and touchdowns. These actions happen frequently and are the main source of fantasy points. IDP players, however, score mainly through tackles, sacks, interceptions, and forced fumbles. These stats happen less often and depend heavily on the defensive scheme and game situation. For example, linebackers usually lead IDP scoring because they make many tackles, but their value can vary based on the team's defensive style. Defensive linemen, especially edge rushers, can rack up sacks that give big point boosts, but sacks are less common than offensive scoring plays. The scoring rules of your league also play a big role. Some leagues reward tackles heavily, making linebackers more valuable. Others give extra points for sacks or interceptions, boosting the worth of defensive linemen and defensive backs. In leagues that emphasize impact plays, top edge rushers or safeties can approach the value of mid-tier offensive players. Still, they rarely surpass the top offensive stars in overall points. Another factor is consistency. Offensive players tend to be more reliable week to week because their roles are stable. Defensive players often see more fluctuation due to coaching changes, injuries, or game flow. This makes offensive stars more dependable choices early in drafts. IDP players are often picked later or used to fill specific needs, but smart managers can find hidden gems who perform well in certain league formats. In leagues that heavily reward tackles or impact plays, some IDP players can be very valuable. But generally, offensive stars still hold more overall value because they score more points more often. The key is understanding your league's scoring system and roster rules. If your league favors defensive impact plays, then some IDP players can be almost as valuable as offensive stars. So, while IDP players add a fun layer of strategy and can boost your team, they usually don't match the scoring potential of top offensive players. Their worth depends on how your league scores points and how well you understand defensive roles. In most cases, offensive stars remains the main focus early in drafts, with IDPs serving as valuable later-round picks or strategic additions.